Folks, this is the stage. The American Contractor Summit is going to take place right here on this very stage in just a few days. If you haven't gotten your tickets for this state-of-the-art event, first of its kind virtual conference, you need to do that right away. We're going to have a ton of people on the stage like Jim Johnson, Dale Childress, Hunter Ballou, Chuck Doki, and a whole bunch of others that are going to bring you tons of value and help your teams and your businesses explode in 2021. Get your tickets, American Contractor Summit, January 14th and 15th. I'll see you there. Welcome to the American Contractor Show, folks. I'm your host, John Dye, and I'm so excited today because we've got a lot going on, and it's the week of Christmas, and we're doing a live episode, truly live episode. I haven't done this in a while, so it's kind of cool to be here with you guys, and always an honor and a pleasure when I get to spend time with the amazing American Contractor Show audience. Today's episode, though, is extremely, extremely cool for us. We have the one and only Letitia Hanke. If you guys don't know who she is someone that you guys need to know. She was just recently named the 2020 Residential Roofing Contractor of the Year by Contractor magazine, and was on the Mike Rowe show and Kelly Clarksons Show. And she's got some amazing insight as to what she's done to grow her business, but not just that, but what she's doing to grow her community and to share from her business into the minds of young people within their community, and giving them the opportunities that we all have experienced because of the trades, because of roofing and construction, electrical, whatever trades that you're in. We all know that these are a great place to be and a great place to work. And so she's sharing those opportunities with the young people of today who probably aren't getting a lot of exposure to that. And so we'll talk about that with her, and I'm really excited to have her. So thank you so much for joining the American Contractor Show, and she'll be right with us after this. Welcome to the American Contractor Show, the show that's all about American contractors living the American dream. I'm your host, John Dye. Each episode will introduce you to contractors just like you who have beaten the odds and leveled up their game to become the dominant force in their markets. Together, we'll explore the tools and tactics that unlock the secrets to their success. Join me as we begin the journey that leads to the realization of your American dream. Well, welcome back, guys. And Letitia, thank you so much for joining me today. It's such an honor. Like I'm like fanboying over here because it's like, it's Letitia Hanke. She's on the show with us. She's amazing. Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm happy to be here.
No, it's an honor. And, I love your story. I've watched some of the stuff that you've done and read a lot about it, heard a lot of it from my wife too. She's followed you and stalked you a ton, and she's just like, this lady's amazing. You got to get her on the show. And just to have you here is amazing. And I was really hoping you can come to the summit, but I get it. I know with COVID and everything's kind of insane, but thank you for at least coming on the show today and sharing knowledge with our audience, because I think there's so much inspiration right here, and I'm really excited to have you.
I am so excited to be here. You have no idea. So I'm happy that you contacted me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Letitia, it's been a crazy year, and you're in California.
Yeah.
Which has become one of the weirdest places in the industry. And really, honestly, like, I could talk to a lot of people, and we don't get to talk to a lot of people from California. I've talked to, I think, like Dave Sullivan and some of the guys out there that do the podcast world that's out of San Francisco. But contractors wise, though, it's like a different world. And to be named 2020 Residential Contractor of the Year, that's such a huge honor, and especially as a year like this. But I want you to share your story a little bit and kind of where you come from in the industry and inspire us today. That's the goal. So thank you for being here. Sure.
Well, yeah, I started, so it's been about 25 years now. So I'm a musician. So I actually was in college going to school for music. And but I was pretty starving. I was broke pretty much throughout my whole college years, and started working for a roofing company. I was about 19 years old, and I was the receptionist with the company. And my boss, after a few years, he wanted me to just keep moving up in the company. So I became the office manager and the manager of the company. And after a few years, he's like, hey, I want to retire. I want you to buy my company. I'm like, I'm not a roofer, so how am I going to do that? He said, don't worry, I'll teach you how to do that. So after about 4 more years of roofing, and I'm like, okay, I could do this now. And I said, I'm going to start my own company. And in 2004, I got my license, started my own company, and grew the business over the years with just a great team of people. I have literally the best team ever. And we've had a lot of obstacles along the way, but I just pushed through them all and made it happen.
I think it's important that people understand, though, like roofing in California is a lot different than roofing in like a lot of the states out here, like in the Midwest or in the South or East Coast.
Yes.
You know, you guys have some very strict licensing requirements. You guys, it's not a prevalent storm market. Like out in the Midwest, like we work a lot with hailstorms and you know, it's a lot easier to get into the business than I think it is for people in California. Can you kind of walk us through like what the licensing looks like and that kind of stuff for businesses out there, and just to kind of give us an example?
So you have to have a license for all of the specialties. So I have a roofing license, I have a sheet metal license, I have a solar license.
Wow.
So you have to take a test for all of them, but you also have to pass the law. And there's a lot involved in that one because California has so many laws when it comes to contractors. Now it's really great in a way because it protects a lot of our customers. You know, we have to have, you know, workers' comp insurance. So that's going to protect our employees, you know, so, but, you know, you have to have all of that stuff in order to be in business here. Being in California, I'm in Northern California, so we have some of the best weather ever up here. So, you know, it's December right now and, you know, 75 degrees. So we're still roofing like crazy, big projects and small projects. So that's also a really nice part about being up here in California because, you know, we don't have the snow and ice and all that stuff. So it's really nice.
Well, yeah, and you guys have, but it's a whole different world. Like out here, I mean, we don't have as strict a licensing. We don't have to carry. I mean, you got probably like 5 or 6 right now. You're talking about just within all the stuff that you have to do, not including probably all the municipalities that you guys work in, and all the local businesses like business licenses you got to have. I mean, I was in one contractor's office in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and I think he said that he had to renew like 70 different licenses every year just in Colorado. And I'm like, man, that's crazy to think about how many licenses. But, you know, you've gone through all these things and you've built a rather large business. You guys are in multiple cities now too, right?
Yeah, we service several counties around my area. So it's Napa County, Marin County, San Francisco, Sonoma County. And you're right about the licenses. You have to have a license for every city that you're working in. So every little town that you have. So we're Santa Rosa, Rohnert Park, Petaluma. You have to have a license for every single one of those cities. So I understand how he has like 70 of them because I probably have around the same. And, you know, you got to pull permits for all the jobs that you're doing. So, you know, I remember I think it was in Utah, and someone was joking around. They're like, yeah, as long as you have a bike and you can put a ladder on the bike, you can be a roofer. And I'm like, really? Or
Yep.
That might have been Texas that they were talking about. But I just was like, well, what do you mean you don't need a license, you know, to be a roofer? They're like, no, you just put a ladder on the bike and you're a roofer now. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't fly over here in California. That's for sure.
No, it's a whole different world, and the regulations are different. The OSHA, like all the different safety requirements. You talked about workers' comp, and you know, you guys keep most of your employees as W-2s, like even your installers and everything else.
That's correct. Yeah,
Yes.
they're W-2. They're actually employees of the company, and yes, OSHA has there's a whole task force that just goes around looking for contractors that don't have their ladders tied off. And, you know, they come in and, you know, you get cited. We're part of their OSHA program. So if they were to come on one of our job sites, all my crew has to do is say, hey, we're part of your OSHA program. And then they kind of back off and then they just contact me.
Okay.
But otherwise, they're just roaming around, you know, looking for contractors to site, especially since we're doing a lot of rebuilding from all the fires. So.
Yeah, which that's an interesting issue in itself, because now you guys are having to rebuild. Roofing is a lot less. You know, over here we're constantly re-roofing roofs. Over there, I think roofs last a lot longer than they do in the Midwest. So
yeah, that's true.
So with the fires, that's causing you guys an influx of work this year. That's probably, you know, not normal for you.
You know, we were all busy before the fires happened. So 2017 was when we had our biggest fire, which was the Tubbs fire. And then it subsequently we had another one in 18, 19, and then 20. We've had two big ones, and it's just constant. And they're burning down buildings, commercial buildings, homes. So we had 5,500 structures burned down in 2017 that we're still doing. We're still building those homes, and now we've had hundreds and hundreds of more. So it's just constant. We're constantly, in this building. So that's why, this is a great industry to be in, because we're essential and essential for quite some time.
That's so cool. And you've built this amazing company. You've got all these processes, all these people in place. You guys have, this isn't easy. I know from watching other contractors do it, there's nothing easy about what you're doing. And then to top it all off, though, you've started this other this passion project. I shouldn't say little, because it's incredible, and I was so well run. I was so impressed by it. The Lime Foundation. I'd love for you to talk about that and tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing with that.
Sure. Well, one of our main programs is the Next Gen Trades Academy. So it's been about 5, almost 6 years ago. I always had problems hiring, finding good roofers, to come in. I'd get a lot of seasoned roofers that would come in and they think they know everything. And so but then I started hiring young people that didn't know anything at all and training them and realizing how great that was, because they would learn the way we wanted them to learn. So I got together with a few of my other contractors and, generals and painters. And I said, hey guys, if I started this trades academy training young people, would you be interested in hiring them and training them? And they all said yes, every single one of them. So I was like, okay. So I started a nonprofit in this Next Gen Trades Academy, and we're training young people ages 16 to 24 and educating them about the trades and how they can have a great career in the trades industry, because most of them are told to go to college, but some of them don't want to go to college or even can't go to college. So now we're swooping them up and we're training them in the trades and getting them amazing, crazy jobs in the trades industry.
Well, it's so crazy, because I think of like my dad's generation and, my father-in-law's generation, where, they had like shop class, and they had like, my father-in-law talks about how when he was in high school, they were building and racing cars and, like all these things that nowadays, when I went to college, or when I went to high school, I was pushed so hard to go to college that, it was just a constant thing. If you don't go to college, you're not going to make it. If you don't, if you don't have an education, you're basically stuck in the world. And now we're seeing like all these kids that are going to college, they're coming out and they can't find a job because of college. The market for those the job market for them is so competitive.
That's right.
And we're over here in the trades and we're like, man, we need help. Yes. And you're absolutely right. And so what you're doing is so incredible.
Thank you. They're dropping out of college. They're going to college for 4 years, 5 years, getting into debt. And then they drop out of college, or they finish college and still can't get a job in, where they just spent 5 years in getting. So we're grabbing those ones too. And we're just like, hey, have you ever thought about being a painter? and now they're working in these jobs making $25 and $30 an hour. And we have quite a few contractors that are really high-end contractors. So they travel around the world doing projects. And that's so we awesome. Have students, working with people like that caliber. It's just amazing. And we also teach these young people how this is one of the only industries in construction where you can start off at $16 an hour. And then within a year, you're at $23 an hour. A lot of our students have just worked really hard, and they've been able to get a raise in 1 year, huge raises. So that means a lot, especially here in California. It's very expensive over here to live. So it's
yeah, it's a whole different world. And I really think that this is one of the things that, contractors need to think about what the future is. And you're thinking, 5 or 10 steps ahead of everyone else by putting together these programs and giving people opportunities at such a young age that otherwise, like you said, some of them can't go to college. Not everyone can go to college. It's not easy to go to college. And for some people, it's not the smartest thing to do either. You're going to walk out of there with a ton of debt. You've really got to be structured and planned out in order to make that really work. And trades is such a cool opportunity.
It is.
It's such a great place to start and to get people involved. And so I commend you on that. But talk to me a little bit about kind of the thought process that it went from being, the business owner to now, okay, let's set up a foundation. Like, let's set up this Next Gen Trades Academy. Like, How did you get to that? Like, how did you go about that? Because I think a lot of contractors would love to do this kind of stuff, but they don't realize how this opportunity really works.
Yeah, it was just, I always loved giving back, whether it's just making donations or volunteering and things, but I just wanted to give back more. I've been blessed to have such an amazing company that has flourished and done very well. And I just wanted to be able to give back in some way. How do I help others, get above, right? And that's really how it all happened. I had all these passions and things inside of me, and I wanted to be able to, give that away, right? So I got together with some great folks that have really helped me along the way to make it happen. And I started the nonprofit because, part of it is other programs. I have my music program because I'm a musician, and that helps a lot of our at-risk youth. And I really just want to help a lot of these young people that have gone through so much in their lives have a better life. And I knew they could do that in construction because they get to work with their hands and kind of have that sense of pride when they're building something and making something. And then I get to see it. They come and tell me how, someone who used to be in a gang and getting into trouble has turned their lives completely around. And they tell me that I saved their life. There's nothing better than that, is to have someone come back and say, hey, you saved my life. So there's not much more I can say than that.
No. And that's amazing. And that's the part of it where I think a lot of contractors, they want to find those places to give. They want to find those places to get involved. And it's right in front of you.
Yes.
You just have to have the same desire. Like, it's just like starting another business in all reality. Watching, some of my colleagues, I know Troy Clymer started the Catalyst Group with some other industry experts, with Jim Johnson and some other guys, and watching how that's evolved into a nonprofit in and of itself is it's so cool, but it's doable. And being a part of the community in that way is probably extremely valuable for your business too.
Yes. So I've had countless clients say that. So on every contract that I have, I donate up to 5% of my net profit. So that's how we fund the program, is that way for me privately. And then other contractors do it the same way. So when we have brochures and we bring that with us when we're with our customer, we let them know, hey, you're not only getting a brand new roof, but at the same time, you're helping these young people have a better life. So you can tell like the full story, and people have signed my contracts just because they know that it's going to a better cause. So you may not want to necessarily start your own nonprofit, but you can get involved in other nonprofits in your area that are kind of doing that same thing by mentoring. You could just be a mentor. A lot of our contractors, they're just mentors for these students. So, you don't have to be the one to actually start it, but it's nice to just get involved in something like that. And your clients will appreciate it, knowing that you're a mentor for someone.
So you said something interesting. So you said other contractors as well. So you guys are partnered together on this. Other contractors in the area are donating to this program, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have 160 contractors that are part of the program right now.
No kidding. That's impressive.
Just locally.
And that just goes to show, like, out here, you can barely get like 3 contractors to get together and agree on something. You got 160 contractors all agreeing on something. That is phenomenal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's so cool.
They just keep telling each other. They're just like, I just hired this kid and he's amazing. He's better than anyone else I've ever hired. And it's easy because it's all word of mouth. Like, I barely have to do anything because they're all telling all their contractor friends, and then they come to us. So it's just been really great to grow in that way, and by referral. So it's been really fun.
That's so cool. And that's that's so unheard of in our space. And it's funny because I was just on another call before this talking to an industry leader, and we were talking about how quickly the whole industry has changed. Yeah. And it's usually, what's funny about that is it's like this on a macro scale too. Usually what California does, the rest of the country will adopt eventually. And so kind of watching what you're doing and how things are working out there kind of is like a glimpse into the future for what's going to happen throughout the entire industry in the next few years. I'm curious, how are you guys expanding that? And is it going to come this way, hopefully, at some point?
Yeah, so we did a pilot. This time we had a student that's in Savannah, Georgia, take our class. And it has to do a lot with what you said earlier. There's so many different regulations in every state, every city. So we're still getting used to what those regulations are. But we did do a pilot to see how that went for him. So far, it went so well. He finished the class. But we did get quite a, from the micro show, especially lots of people from all over the country that want the program in all these different areas. So I'm connected with a networking group called BNI. And so luckily there's contractors in pretty much every state and lots of cities that are ready and willing to be a part of the program. So yes, we are in that process of expanding. And that way, there's so many other areas that can just take the model that we already have and be able to do it right there. And it's a really simple model as well. So I'm really excited about that.
So is BNI a part of this as well?
Yeah. They're a networking group that I'm in that has a bunch of contractors. So I started off with all of those contractors, and now I network with all the other contractors in other states. So that way they know that we can do the Next Gen Trades Academy in their state, and now we can go ahead and have like all over the United States and do it everywhere. We're actually in the Bahamas as well. So in Eleuthera, we went and did some solar classes there. So that's the only way to do it, is to network with each other and contractors networking with each other. And that's been the best way to do it. So
okay. Well, this is phenomenal, and I'm going to encourage all of the people that watch this show to definitely reach out to you, or reach out to did you reach out to Lime Foundation? Is that where it comes from? Or?
Lime Foundation. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll make sure it's tagged in here, because this is something that I think a lot of people need to start getting involved with, across the country. And it doesn't matter if you're a roofing contractor, probably, or a solar or electrical or plumber or whatever else. Like, if you're a GC and you guys need trades help and you want to start to help your community, I mean, just thinking like what you said earlier, you're saving lives essentially. Like, people are going from being, underprivileged or, having a rough time. I know home lives with people could be a huge issue, especially with today's young people. And then you throw on top of that a massive pandemic that's,
my gosh.
Kids, think about where are kids working when they're 16 years old. I mean, when I was 16, I worked at a Steak and Shake. Okay, I worked at a restaurant, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I, if I was 16 in 2020, would I be working like I did when I was 16 years ago? No, absolutely not.
Oh.
There's no way. And so what you guys are doing is so fundamentally important to these kids' lives and the opportunities you guys are presenting. And so I'm really excited about this, because I haven't seen anything like it, especially not in our space. And you bringing this together, and I mean, just in general, like your personality, the way you are, I'm just like, man, I just want to be around Letitia all the time.
Oh, thank you.
So
I'm really excited as well. I love this program with all my heart. Luckily, my staff, runs the construction part, so I can spend so much time in the Next Gen Trades Academy portion, because there's so many young people out there. I mean, who's going to take our place? When we retire, out of construction, who's going to take our place? We have a big gap there. So I'm really excited as well. We need to train some of these young folks and get them into the trades.
No, it's such a huge testament to your leadership. I see why you were named the 2020 Residential Roofing Contractor of the Year. Congratulations. Also, congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
So many good things happening for you in 2020. And, I'm excited that we can be a small part of that and share this out to our viewers and give you guys, something that is important, that can connect you to the future. And so what are the plans right now, Letitia? Like, what do you guys, what's your guys' goal right now for 2021?
Right now, we want to get through this pandemic. That's number one. I mean, we're staying.
Fair enough.
We're not doing our classes in person anymore. We're doing them all through Zoom. So, which we've had the same results in Zoom than we, did. So we're going to stay with that and expand doing more classes. Since we are able to do it on Zoom, we're able to start expanding in other areas. So we are going to start small, just expand towards the Bay Area first, and just building our plan for expansion for United States. And that's really all we have planned for 2021, is just keep that going, because I know there's just a lot that we can do in this, computer Zoom format for right now. So that's our biggest plan right now for 2021.
Awesome. And I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm excited for your growth and for doing this. And I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your passion and what you're doing. I know we'll have you at a future summit at some point speak because that's like Letitia's on our, like, I feel like you gave us a rain check anyways. So
I did.
we'll definitely have you on because, and I'm going to have to come out and see you guys too. I want to do some more, get more information on this too, and get this out to our. So once this pandemic thing kind of clears up and you guys are comfortable, I'll be more than happy to come out. Count me in 100%. So
count me in as well.
Awesome.
100%.
Folks, Letitia Hanke, you guys need to get to know her, get to know what she's doing. She is doing some amazing stuff with the Next Gen program and the Lime Foundation and ARS. I cannot stress enough how cool that this is. And you know, this is an opportunity for us as contractors to give back, become better, and change our communities. I think contractors are so focused on, we got to make sales, we got to build processes, we got to build a business, and that's all good and everything. But then what? Then what? You've done all that. Let's say you've done all those things already. You've got a company. You guys are doing great. Then what? This is your then what. Find your then what, like Letitia has. How has that changed your perspective?
I know what I want to do in my retirement. For me, it was just like, okay, I build this, great company and stuff. What am I going to do when I retire? And for me, building this nonprofit has given me a purpose, for when I retire, that I have something to go to. I'll be able to just continue being a mentor and helping young people eventually start their own businesses, right? And then they do the same thing. They'll go full circle. They'll be hiring students from the program. I mean, that's my biggest goal, is to see a student go through my program, get their license, and then hire someone from the program. So that's what I'm looking forward to, later on. So
Letitia, that's so cool. And I think that's an inspiration to all of us. So I really appreciate you joining us today and being a part of this episode. And we will definitely be in touch in the future. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you doing something unique, innovative, or just plain cool with your contracting business and want to show off a little bit? We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email at showcase@americancontractorshow.com and let us know what you're up to. We'd love to hear from you, and maybe we'll feature you on a future episode.